Stick around for the low-code revolution. In this episode, we're going to be talking to a group of university students who built a Power App in only 3 hours with no prior experience to manage insulin levels. So stick around and we'll see you in the low-code revolution. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Low Code Revolution. I'm your host, April Dunnam, and today we're joined by a group of university students who participated in their very first Power Platform hackathon and built a very cool insulin tracking application and Power Apps. Welcome everyone to the show.
Hi, lovely to see you today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Would you mind going around just doing a really quick introduction so we can get to know you all a little bit better?
I'll start. My name is Akshay. I'm studying at Heriot-Watt University. I'm about to enter my 4th year and I'm doing computing science with a specialization in software engineering.
I'm Isaac Diaby, an ethical hacking student at Edinburgh University, and also economics major as well.
Hiya, I'm David. I'm a second year computing science student at the University of Glasgow. I have a little startup of my own making mobile apps similar to Power Apps that we did at the hackathon, and I am a type 1 diabetic, which was kind of the inspiration for what we did at the hackathon.
Again, my name is Karim Hadan. I'm a university student studying at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh. I'm going to my 3rd year. I'm studying information systems, so in tech still, but just a different degree of tech, so much more looking at kind of data analysis and how can we bring technology into kind of business users and the value stream of that.
Perfect. Thank you all so much for coming on the show. I would love to know, maybe Akshay, you could tell me a little bit more about how did you all make the decision to join the hackathon and want to learn more about Power Apps, and kind of what was your experience like?
So it was a little bit of a coincidence, really, because I got an email from my university talking about hackathons that were going in and around my area, so Edinburgh, Glasgow, like in and around Scotland. I wasn't interested in the ones that were directly sent by my university, so I kind of did my own digging. I went on Eventbrite and I found the Microsoft Accessibility Hackathon that was going on. And I just, on a whim, I just decided to message a bunch of people I know who were in and around computing spaces, and I just said, yo, we should go do this. And these were the first people that replied. And working with Power Apps on the day was very interesting. So me and Isaac met up the day before we went to the actual event. It was like 3 hours or 4 hours that we just sat down at a cafe. We were trying to figure out what we were actually going to do, because we were very stressed. It was our first ever hackathon experience. We didn't know what to expect. It was a very new way to code, because it definitely made us a lot better at planning and just time management in general. So we sat down, for a solid 2 hours, just trying to familiarize ourselves with the Power Platform. And then we had an idea here, an idea there, but nothing concrete that we could kind of say, yeah, we could definitely build upon this tomorrow in a brainstorming session and kind of have an actual product by the end of it. Basically, me and Isaac had that chat. We ended up calling David, and David started talking about his experience with diabetes, which I'm sure he will cover on later. But basically, based on that, we ended up building upon that and kind of understanding what David goes through on a day-to-day. And basically that led us to where we are with the application.
Well, that's amazing. So you hadn't even heard of the Power Platform before, or had any experience with it, but decided to just dive right in and try a hackathon and see what you could build. That's super awesome. I'd love to hear maybe from David. So the application scenario, kind of how did that come about during the hackathon that you settled on this kind of insulin management application, and how did you find the experience of kind of building it out inside of Power Apps?
Well, I think I've had diabetes for about 5 years now. It's part of my life now, and I've had a lot of different pieces of technology to help me out on that, to the point where as I've kind of gotten to use a lot of new technology that's coming out, it's made it so that it almost doesn't feel like I have diabetes in my life. But something that's kind of always bothered me since I got diagnosed is just the one thing is how complicated it is if you're trying to have a meal to figure out the nutritional content in that meal. You might go to a restaurant's website to find nutritional info on there. There's a lot of different websites you can use, but you just have to kind of find what you can. Sometimes different things work out, sometimes they don't. It's all a bit complicated. And it just feels like with the technology and the data we have out there, there's a much better way to do this. I've kind of thought about that for a long time, and being able to work with my friends here on brainstorming it and coming up with the best way to kind of make it easier, and being able to prototype it really easily and quickly with Power Apps on the day. I think we built something that's going to be really helpful, hopefully in future, for diabetics, and getting feedback on that prototype was really great. To hear that people thought it looked really good. But I think that's kind of a real power of Power Apps, is that accessibility in the world of mobile apps is becoming even more important as day by day, because so many people do have a disability or a need that accessibility can help with. As I say, there's a lot of new technology out there now that can make it feel like those disabilities that you or many of your friends will have kind of almost isn't in your life anymore, which is really amazing to be able to do. And what's amazing is, as someone with a disability like diabetes, knowing how that affects you, you can, like anyone who has those experiences firsthand, can build something that can make other people's experiences better with this low-code platform, which I'm sure Kareem's going to talk about a bit more in a moment. But anyone can step in and do this and prototype, make something amazing that's going to make people's lives so much better with the power of technology. It's really amazing.
I love that. Such a great story of how you have a personal use case like that and are able to solve it so quickly with Power Apps, and in turn, something that we're going to help so many others as well. So Kareem, maybe if you wouldn't mind touching on a little bit about the accessibility aspect of this. What did you all do, since this was an accessibility hackathon, to kind of meet the accessibility needs and make the application accessible?
Absolutely. So I think one of the great things about us being able to make it accessible is, firstly, to understand is that Microsoft Power Platform is very collaborative. It allows people from all different kind of use cases, so individuals who may be developers, individuals who are low coders or even non-coders, all to kind of collaboratively work together. And what this allows is that, especially in kind of this context, you have individuals of all different strengths and all different skills. So what it allows is individuals who may not even be able to code at all, but have, for example, experienced these accessibility issues, be able to implement their two shoes into developing the application. And one of these examples of one we had there was, personally for myself, I'm much of a lower coder individual. My university course, I don't really focus too much on coding. So for me there, being able to still work with them, even so, whereas you had Isaac and Action and David who are a bit more into coding and programming, being developers, was a very effective way of kind of collaborating together. And overall, this Power Platform allowing individuals who from all different kind of disciplines be able to work together and implement their skills in a collaborative manner is extremely beneficial.
For sure. So, okay, we talked a lot about the application. I am dying to see it in action. Can someone kind of showcase the app that you built?
Yeah, of course. I just have it right here. So there's not a lot of UI stuff done. So basically, here we have the actual insulin calculator. Can everyone see my screen, first of all? Just to check.
Yeah, we see it.
Perfect.
Amazing. So if we go to the top right here, we can add new recipe. So to add new recipe, you have to take a screenshot of a recipe, and there is an AI component in Power Apps that scans text. So I took a screenshot earlier of a recipe for halloumi fajitas. So if we went on this, if we click on the photo app, you can go in there. This is a screenshot of the actual recipe that I took earlier. It'll just scan every single one of the things. It will get rid of the ingredients. Then once we upload it, we have that there. We can check all the ingredients. And that actually isn't, I'm not sure how well that part of it works. The actual insulin selection. But what the idea behind this was, you could look through this to see the individual calories that we have on every single one of the items that you're eating. And you will have a list of recipes here of meals that you've previously cooked. And using the search function, another thing that I had an idea for a day or two before the hackathon was, if we have this way where we're sorting everything by ingredients, you could also kind of build upon it and make it like a recipe platform almost, where you could type in ingredients that you have currently in your pantry, and it could tell you what you can make based off that, based on previous meals. But in general flow, you would use the photo part, and you would take a photo of the ingredients. It would give you the breakdown of all the ingredients here, the calorie counts, the micronutrients, and you would be able to calculate the actual insulin off of that. Because we had in the DataVerse, David sent me this government index of foods that are in UK supply and their like micronutrient breakdown. And what we would do is we would take something like 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We would take the olive oil part, search it through the index, and then based on the value that they said per gram, per teaspoon, per tablespoon, we would calculate this and have a number there. And then when you press that, it would go to the actual insulin calc screen and show you the actual amount of insulin that needs to be administered. We didn't have the time to implement every single part of that in the hackathon. Obviously, with it being our first hackathon, we didn't have like as much experience developing in that sort of space within that limited amount of time. But I think for the amount of time that we had, we got something that's very functional out the door on the day.
Absolutely. This is amazing. I'm super impressed with how you're able to do some of the integration of the Power Platform. So we're able to interact with AI Builder and be able to pull in and read from the recipes there with the kind of the forms detection, and also leveraging DataVerse, like you mentioned, to be able to pull information in from other data sources into DataVerse to kind of get that information and do the calculations. So I know the hackathon, as you said, is limited time, so you didn't really get a lot of time to adjust everything, but how quickly were you able to build that application? Keeping in mind, everyone watching, that these people they've never built a Power App before. So like, how quickly were you able to build that demo there?
That's an interesting question, all things considered, because we had, I don't know if we can pull up a photo of it, but we had a photo of this whiteboard. So as soon as we got there, we for the first hour, we were just brainstorming. We had like a piece of white paper. Everyone at the hackathon was like slow and like actually writing out notes and like actually planning everything step by step. We like literally, as soon as they said go, we ran to the whiteboard. We started like jotting down every single idea that we possibly had. We have this massive, I think Isaac still has it in his room to this day.
Oh yeah, literally. This is right here, to be honest.
Can you pull it out? Just show us on the stream.
You want me to pull it out?
Why not?
Wait,
I'm kind of curious now.
But basically, we jotted down every idea that we possibly had, how this would look functionally, how this would look.
Nice.
There it is.
And yeah, so we spent a lot of time planning with it. And then even when we got to the stages where we were trying to develop, we still had to like, a lot of it was like, you had to Google search this, how to do this, how to do this. But we like, step by step, all things considered, Google's documentation on Power Apps is actually really, really, really good, which is not something I can say about a lot of others. And it helped me learn like extremely quickly how to do like even simpler tasks. And it helped me like get to grips with it. And I would say pretty soon, within like an hour and a half, we were like in a good developmental flow where we were actually like getting like little sprints done, where we were like finishing off small sections of the project part by part by part. Obviously, we had a lot of help from the actual organizers of the event and the people there, but I'd say altogether within our entire development period was about 2 hours or 3 with a lunch break in there somewhere.
Wow. That's awesome.
Wait, can I quickly add, like, and basically, like, on top of that, like, we were literally surrounded, like, with around, like, really, like, intelligent people as well. Like, they knew how to use our application as well.
So many.
And before even, like, entering the, like, hackathon as well, we already went through, like, our game plan. We somewhat knew already what we was going to do, what we kind of, like, wanted to build out. So it was relatively easier to actually just get into the workflow from that point.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, I love hearing that. That's the power of the Power Platform, is just how fast and easy it is to get started, and no really previous experience kind of needed for that. And you're able to do such cool things like what you all did with the AI integration and all that, and build an app that's going to help a lot of people. So kudos to all of you for kind of taking the leap in there to participate in this hackathon and building such an amazing app. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been great having you on the show. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Low Code Revolution.